How is it going, Bears fans? Welcome back to another episode of Beared Down Uncut on the Beared Down podcast, the show where we talk everything Bears every day of the week. Today, in episode number 161 of Uncut, we're going to be discussing Justin Fields. How is he going to perform in his first start? How many touchdowns could he put up against a Browns defense that frankly has played like Swiss cheese thus far? And can he lead the Bears to a week 3 upset win in a season where the Bears' schedule does not really get easier? We're going to be breaking it all down for you guys today. Before we get into this one, I would like to say, if you haven't already, drop a like, subscribe, follow wherever you are listening to the podcast, YouTube, Spotify, or Apple Podcasts. We're bringing you guys the most comprehensive Bears coverage of video each and every day throughout the 2021-2022 regular season. I am your host, Chris Malpe, today to talk about Justin Fields starting. Man, we've been talking about it all offseason. The time is finally here. We're going to probably talk about whether or not he'll stay in the lineup somewhere further down the road, but I am joined with my co-host, Parth Shaw. Parth, a lot of anticipation going into this week. I'm sure as we continue to move forward, we're going to continue to get more and more anxious, but how are you feeling? How are you doing?
Doing pretty good. Haven't been able to record for the past couple of days, but excited to be back. The game was incredible. I didn't record the post-game show, so it was great to see the Bears pull it out. You guys did a great job recapping that one. But excited to be back. Excited for Justin Fields. There's a lot to talk about in this one. And, yeah, it's finally happening. Week 3 against Cleveland. I was expecting it to be next week, but here we are a week early due to some circumstances. But, couldn't be excited.
Yeah, due to some unforeseen circumstances, Justin Fields obviously going to get his shot and hopefully his chance to be able to sustain himself and solidify himself as the Bears starting quarterback here in week 3. And we're going to get into that in just a second after this message from our partners, our 2021-2022 sponsors over at MyBookie. Winning season has started off hot, but MyBookie's continuing to crank up the heat with a $50,000 survival contest. Whether you're a new or existing customer, if you've made a deposit with MyBookie, you'll earn a free entry into the $50K Survivor contest absolutely free. To play, all you have to do is pick a winner each week to keep your streak alive and have a shot at the grand prize. Start off strong with a Ravens pick against the Lions, and the Lions haven't beaten Baltimore since Lamar Jackson was in second grade. Or ride a hungry Steelers squad looking to get back their historical dominance over the Bengals. Either way, it's a simple play, and you can win, even if you don't have a ton of betting experience, which is why we always choose MyBookie for NFL contests. Head over to mybookie.ag now and get the competition rolling by using promo code BD to receive double your first deposit and get instant access to the $50,000 survival pool. Again, that's promo code BD to instantly double your first deposit. Bet anything, anytime, and anywhere with MyBookie. Thank you, MyBookie, for sponsoring once again. Now let's get back into the podcast. All right, Parth, a lot to break down today. Week 3, man, we are already here. I think I said it last week when we started recording. It feels like we're already moving so quickly. I guess it even feels more accelerated because we're seeing Justin Fields play this week. Obviously, Andy Dalton went down with a bone bruise. That's something that might keep him out for a while. NFL Network's Tom Pelissero said this morning that Dalton is considered week to week with his knee injury. No final decision, even though there definitely is a final decision. But Justin Fields appears to be in line to make his first NFL start Sunday at Cleveland. So a lot to look forward to. Obviously, we hope Dalton can heal up soon, but I think at the same time, we hope Justin Fields shows out and earns this quarterback one spot, makes it impossible to go back to Dalton while he gets his playing time. So, Parth, let's start here. We saw a good sample size of Justin Fields in week 2 against a good defense. The Bears defense showed out really well in that one. We saw Fields with really only one bad play, a couple of touchdowns taken off of the board due to some drops. So overall, he's going to get a week of practice here with the ones. What do you expect to see from the 11th overall pick in week 3?
I'm excited. I think we can see a good game from him. It's going to be against a tougher defense. He's against this Browns defense. who's definitely got some dogs on this defense. Miles Garrett, definitely someone who's going to be pressuring Fields all day. Justin's going to need to look out for him. That's something he's going to get better as he plays more. I think that's just repetition. He just needs more reps. Like you said, he's going to have reps with the ones this week. I expect them to have better chemistry. Last week we saw, him and Allen Robinson. We saw Allen Robinson not ready, I guess. He didn't expect Fields to drop it in the bucket like he did, and it was right there in his hands, and Allen Robinson dropped it. Allen Robinson thought he'd have to reach out or something like he has had to in the past, but not with Fields. So hopefully with more repetition with Fields, Robinson, Mooney, this offensive line, hopefully he gets better. Obviously the play calling needs to get better also. Matt Nagy needs to feel out Fields, how Fields likes the game to be called also. That's a huge switch for the play caller as well. So I feel like you can see Fields, especially running around. I feel like Justin's going to, need to do that, especially as a young quarterback. He's going to look to run a lot more as he feels more comfortable with his legs. And we saw that last week at the end of the game when the Bears needed a first down. He felt comfortable taking off, and I'm completely fine with him doing that as long as he can, get some positive yards and stay healthy. That's the most important thing. But you can expect a pretty good performance out of Field. He's a competitor. He's going back to Ohio where he played his college ball, so I'm excited for him.
Yeah, Fields had 10 rushes for 31 yards in the Week 2 win, and we saw he was able to evade pressure a lot and was able to get outside and either extend plays that, didn't essentially work. I believe he only had, 60, 90 passing yards. But
a lot of drops
took away yards. Yeah, absolutely. I think he probably could have had something like 200 passing yards and maybe a touchdown or two had his receivers helped him out more, or there weren't penalties on Chicago's side. So, I think we'll see the dual threat and the explosiveness come from Chicago's offense this week as he continues to gel with these wide receivers. I think that's one thing that you brought up that we didn't really see last week. And we realized this guy really hasn't taken in many reps with the ones overall. So it's not too much of a shocker that it didn't look great. He didn't really have his wide receiver to go to because he hasn't really played much with these guys. Fields has been leading the scout team throughout the regular season so far. So as he practiced with these guys, I think he'll build more chemistry with them. And I think it'll look a lot cleaner in Week 3. Taking a look at the Browns, they're currently the worst third down defense in the league. They come out in base defense a lot. They have the talent to win one-on-ones for sure, I would say. Obviously, a pretty good secondary with John Johnson as well as Denzel Ward. But, they haven't been doing a great job at disguising blitzes. I went back and watched some film. Tyrod Taylor looked very good against them in Week 2 until he ended up going down and Davis Mills came in. So we've seen them give up a lot of points throughout these first 2 weeks of action. And I think if the Bears can get the offense clicking, it's going to be a good sign for them and they'll be able to actually have a chance in this one. I also think one last thing that we're going to see more from Fields in Week 3 that we don't see from Dalton is he's going to throw the ball downfield. He's not scared to take the deep shots and try to extend the field vertically. Even in Week 2, before Dalton went out, he wasn't really stretching the field much. And I believe in only 34 snaps, and not all of those even being passing snaps, we've already seen Justin Fields throw the ball 15-plus yards downfield more than Dalton. So I think we'll see him try and take the long shots, find his receivers, use this speed on offense. And overall, I think the offense is just going to flow better. I think everyone on this planet knows that Justin Fields, it would be detrimental to his progress and his confidence if the Bears pulled him out after starting him. So we'll see if Matt Nagy can be proved that. I really think he's going to once the Bears get this offense going with Justin Fields. Let's move into the actual, not a score prediction, but a prediction on how Fields actually will do. Parth, this is a little bit more for fun, but how many scores do you predict Justin Fields will end up with on Sunday? We saw Tyrod Taylor pick up 1 rushing. Last week, the Browns have been better defensively against the rush, looking at the stats, but they've also allowed 2 quarterbacks, Tyrod Taylor, Davis Mills a little bit, and then also Patrick Mahomes, to put up some pretty inflicting numbers on them. So what do you think we see out of Justin in terms of their scoring?
I expect Justin to get his first career passing touchdown. I think that would be awesome to see. I think he'll get it done. I think with a 4-quarter game, there's no way he throws for at least one. I'm going to say he throws for one touchdown and rushes one in. The red zone, you know how good of a threat he is in the red zone with his legs. He can take off anytime. He's faster than most linebackers, if not all. So, I expect him to at least take one in with his legs as well.
If Jimmy Graham could have picked up a block in week 2, he would have had he would have had the easiest 10-yard rushing touchdown of all time. I'm going to be a little bit ambitious. I'm going to go one more than you. I'm going to go 2 through the air and 1 on the ground, or just 3 overall. Taking a look at this Browns defense and actually doing some more research, I think the Bears will have a fighting chance in this one. They've got the offensive weapons. Ifedi and Jason Peters played really well last week. If Sam Mustipher can clean up some of the false starts and other mistakes getting blown past like a turnstile, I think the Bears will have an opportunity to hopefully hold these Browns pass rushers back like they did against the Rams in week 1, give Justin Fields some time. And I fully trust that the 11th overall pick, the prospect out of Ohio State that everyone in Chicago believes in, will be able to get the ball to his wide receivers. So I'm going to go 3 touchdowns for Fields. I think the only thing that would knock some of those off for him would probably be David Montgomery punching some in, which, hey, at the end of the day, points is points. We're totally fine with that as long as the Bears are competing in this one. So overall, I think it'll be a better day for Justin Fields. We'll see some more clean play. In terms of rookie quarterbacks right now, we really haven't seen anyone play that great. Mac Jones has been solid. Trevor Lawrence hasn't been great.
He's the only one who's played clean football, in my opinion. Mac Jones.
And Zach Wilson and Trevor Lawrence have been pretty terrible, but also they're on not the greatest rosters. So hopefully Justin Fields can up the ante on Sunday and prove that some of these rookies can actually play before we see Trey Lance coming in later this season. And Davis Mills is also a rookie, so it should be interesting to see how he can play with the Texans. But before we close this one off, let's talk a little bit more about this Parth. Without giving up your prediction, I mean, obviously the Bears are 7.5-point underdogs in this one. And it's going to be a tough game regardless. I mean, you're facing Baker Mayfield. Nick Chubb has been on a tear. Jarvis Landry is going to be out, but Odell Beckham Jr. is expected to return. The Browns have really solid tight ends in David Njoku and Austin Hooper. Their offensive line has been holding up semi-decently. I wouldn't say the greatest, but they do have the firepower on offense. They've got the talent on defense where they can win one-on-ones. Overall, do you think Justin Fields can lead the Bears to an upset win in week 3?
He definitely can. The thing about Justin Fields is he makes the game close. He's a competitor. And I feel like the Bears have a chance. I mean, it's the NFL. The Bears have a chance every
Anyone
week.
can beat anyone on any given day.
Exactly. That's going to happen in the NFL every time. Wins are hard to come by. But the Bears, from what I saw last week with Justin Fields, he likes to throw the ball deep, even though he wasn't able to hit them due to drops or even a bad throw or whatever. He likes to extend plays, things that tires defenses out. And if the Bears are in this at the end of the game, there's no doubt in my mind that Justin can, somehow win this game. Obviously, it's a tough one. Like I said, this Browns offense has a lot of weapons. Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt, the two-headed monsters. Those two guys have been tearing it up this year, And then Odell coming back this week. I feel like he's going to be limited just because of how good Jaylen Johnson's been this year. I think Jaylen Johnson's can guard him pretty well. But, Baker Mayfield, Donovan Peoples-Jones, a lot of other guys on this team. Austin Hooper. Is it Austin? No, it's not Austin Hooper.
Yeah, Austin Hooper, yeah.
But it is, it is Austin Hooper. So, there's some solid pieces on this offense, that's for sure. And on the defensive side of the ball, Myles Garrett's a superstar. You can't forget about him. This offensive line last week, our tackles surprisingly were the highest graded tackles in all of football, according to PFF, and our interior offensive line struggled, which I was surprised to see, especially what's his name? Sam Mustipher. He, I think, had the lowest grade as a center last week at 44.9 or something like that. He definitely needs to step it up. Him and Fields need to be on the same page. We saw those false starts happen with Fields. Can't happen again. And if those two are on the same page and the wide receivers on the same page, the Bears can definitely pull this one out in Cleveland.
Yeah, I'm not overestimating that it's going to be a tough game, but I think starting Justin Fields definitely gives the Bears a fighting chance in this one. I don't think the Browns defense has been perfect by any means. I think there are definitely going to be some opportunities for some big plays and to continue to get the offense clicking consistently. It's going to be a big task on the defense, though. I'm a little bit worried. Donovan Peoples-Jones, as you mentioned, a name you forgot is Rashard Higgins. He's a solid wide receiver who has provided some clarity for Baker Mayfield throughout the years. Mayfield's going to attack the Bears secondary, especially at that nickel spot. I did like how Duke Shelley played. It wasn't great, but it was better than Marquis Christian. It's going to be a big task on the Bears defense to be able to slow down Baker Mayfield in this game. I like the depth that the Bears have in their front seven overall, and how they played last week and how they tune up against this Browns team, and seeing what the Texans were able to do last week, keeping it a close game, at least down the stretch. I do believe the Bears will have a chance to win this game. And I do believe Justin Fields, if he can get that offense clicking, can give the Bears a really good shot to win this one. So I don't think you can count the Bears out. If you go to mybookie.ag, bet on the Bears, plus 275, use code BD, you might win some money this weekend. So it should be a very interesting one. Justin Fields making his first start. Let us know if you're listening in on YouTube down in the comments how you think Justin Fields is going to perform in this game. And if you haven't already, drop a like, subscribe, follow wherever you are listening. We're trying to bring you guys the most comprehensive Bears coverage on the web. Thank you guys so much for tuning into episode number 161 of Uncut. If you want more content from us, head over to our website, beardown.com. The link is in the top of the description. You can find columns, articles, and blogs getting you guys ready for the Week 3 game against the Cleveland Browns. If you'd like to find the podcast on social media, you can enter giveaways that we're having, see sneak peeks of guests we're having on the show, and also let us know what you want us to record here on the podcast. You can find us on Instagram and Twitter at Beared Down. And finally, you can find the links to all of our personal social media pages down in the description, our Instagram and Twitter pages. It's another great way to interact with us, and you can see our thoughts on all things Bears, the NFL, and the entirety of Chicago sports. Parshaw, that magic number for those White Sox is getting real low. Another great Week 3 matchup coming up for the Bears. I believe the Bulls are back in less than a month. College football, everything's starting to click, man. Any words before we sign off here?
Yeah, everything's starting to click. Last Saturday, I got to go to the game. It was disappointing.
Let's go, baby. Go Bearcats. Alec Pierce, my boy. Glen Ellen, Illinois.
Desmond Ritter looked really good at the end of the game, and they were able to pull it out. It's time to start Jack Tuttle. But, for the Bears, I'm excited. He's been awful, dude. I don't even know. It's not even fun to watch him play. It's like, where did this dude – Ohio State game Penix, and now you're watching this dude throw some horrible passes into horrible coverage. But for the Bears, hopefully Justin Fields is able to tear it up in Cleveland. He's going back home in Ohio. I know a lot of Browns fans are probably going to cheer on him as well because they're all Buckeye fans. So they're going to be excited to see Justin Fields making his first start. But yeah, other than that, bear down. What's it called? What's tomorrow?
3 key matchups tomorrow. Yeah.
3 key matchups tomorrow. So yeah. And then I think White Sox magic numbers at 3. They're blowing games in Detroit right now. So they're not really helping themselves. I think the only help we're getting is Cleveland losing games for us right now.
Yeah, a lot of anticipation in Chicago for the White Sox. A lot of anticipation to see this new Bulls unit play together. But the most anticipation in Chicago, without a doubt right now, is to see Justin Fields play. So there is a lot to look forward to this weekend. We're going to be covering it all for you guys. Once again, we're bringing you guys a video each and every day. So continue to support us, and we're going to continue to pump out the content. Guys, it's been a pleasure to be your host. Once again, my name is Chris Maltby, and Bears fans, as always, do us a favor and stay safe and bear down. We'll see you in the next one. Peace out.